Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you want in the body and mind you want. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of freedom with food and your body, you're in the right place. Just a reminder that this podcast represents my own opinions. The content here should not be taken as medical advice. The content here is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult your doctor or healthcare professional for any individual medical questions you may have. Hello, everyone. I hope this past week has been a good one for you, full of trying on new thoughts, new thinking patterns, and starting to connect to any of the changes you are working to make in your life. Today, I'm going to give you a short lesson on what I call future you work. Future you work is a technique, a technique or a set of prompts and strategies that I use with some clients at different times in their physical and mental optimization journeys. It's some work that I have personally done a lot of myself. The purpose of this kind of work, future you work, is to make changes in order to live the lives we are wanting to live in the healthy bodies we want to live our lives in. So to me, future you work is some of the most satisfying when it comes to working with clients and doing this type of work for me personally. I've been in the habit of journaling once a week on future me work or using future me work once a week in my own, self-coaching, journaling, changing journey, all that kind of stuff. It can be a really powerful journey for many of us to dig into this sort of work. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about what future you work is and how to begin to apply it to help you get to your weight loss goal quicker, easier. Just a quick interruption to talk about today's show sponsor, and that is the Amino Co. Amino Co. is a company that produces essential amino acid supplements, and I have been using their Life formulation for quite a while now. Supplementing with essential amino acids has been shown to help with appetite control, as well as helping to support muscle maintenance and recovery. We really can't produce all the amino acids we need for optimal health directly in our bodies. We need to get some of them. They're called essential amino acids through our food or supplementation. And if we don't get these essential amino acids in on a regular basis, our bodies lose the ability to create and maintain muscle mass as well as bone density. And so making sure you're getting all the amino acids your body needs becomes really, really important, especially as we age. All of Amino Co.'s formulations have been tested in clinical trials, which show they enhance physical function and muscle strength and support heart health. I personally like knowing that along with getting in my dietary protein amount, I am also supplementing with the essential amino acids I want daily for my long-term goals of strength, muscle maintenance, and just staying healthy as I age. Some quick protocols to try if you want to give their products a try would be if you're someone trying to lose weight, you could take a scoop mixed with water in the morning and again in the afternoon, usually when you notice your energy slumping, to just really help boost your appetite control. If you're an endurance athlete, I know I have some of you out there listening, and you're doing longer than 1 hour of endurance work, you would take 5 to 10 grams per hour. So for example, when I do my really long bike rides, this is what I'm making sure I'm taking in every hour on that hour plus ride. If you're a huge worker outer, had a really, really tough physical day, a really, really big workout that day, then taking a scoop in water before bed has been shown to help with recovery. So since I felt the benefits of this product, I really want to share it with you. And because you are a listener of this podcast, you can try their products for 30% off. If you decide to give these a try and because you could use some help with appetite control and or want to supplement for muscle maintenance and recovery, then use my referral link, which is aminoco.com/HH30. So that's AMINOCO.com/H30. Go to aminoco.com//HH30, choose your product or products, and check out. Use the discount code HH30. Again, capital H30 for 30% off your entire order. I hope you are finding something useful from these episodes and this podcast. And if so, please share it with someone else in your life you feel it could benefit. This podcast is also now monetized. So if you really feel you are getting a lot from it and want to help keep it going, please go to the episode show notes. You can just scroll down from wherever you're listening. You'll see a description of the episode, and then you will see it says support this podcast. And then there's a link you can click on. You can click on that link, and that's where you can support the podcast. Even the smallest donation, like 99 cents, helps to keep me producing the podcast. And to those of you who have donated, I really, really appreciate the support. I really do appreciate all of you listening and sharing the space with me. Again, just very thankful for all of you. And where you want to start to approach this as to starting to think about future you is to think about yourself in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, 5 years from now. And so you're going to pick sort of a timeline of how you're going to pick a specific timeline of where you want to start thinking about future you. And just a side note, if we're talking weight loss, if your personal goal right now is weight loss or changing a health habit, creating one or removing one, then you're going to want to pick a timeline more like 3 months from now. So in 3 months from now, if you've lost your weight, or we should say when you lose your weight, or at least some of your weight, what is future you thinking? So at that moment in time, 3 months from now, you have lost some of your weight or you've lost all of your weight. What are you thinking at that moment in time? What are you thinking in the future in 3 months from now? What specifically are your thoughts once you lose your weight? What is future you doing? What is future you feeling? Because remember, those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that you are thinking, feeling, and behaving in 3 months from now at your goal, the things you are performing, the thoughts, the feelings, the behavior at your goal weight is actually the things you need to be thinking, feeling, and behaving right now. So, or at least beginning to go there right now. Because if you're going to be thinking, feeling, and doing those things 3 months from now at your goal, whatever it is, then you need to start implementing those same thoughts, feelings, behaviors right now in order to get there. The way that you think about your goal weight at future you, like in future you, might be things like, I feel confident. I really enjoy stepping into my closet to put clothes on that feel comfortable, and I'm really liking my new body. You might be thinking things like, I'm really killing it in life and I'm doing great. I'm reaching goals and I know that I can set more goals for myself and reach them because I've just hit this goal. So it might even be a lot of self-talk that doesn't have to do anything around weight. Because you guys, really, once you hit your weight goal and you're in maintenance, the idea that all that thinking that and time and energy you put into your weight, that really starts to shift because you're there. So really understanding weight and food and all that kind of stuff, once you hit your goal, the goal would be not to be thinking about that all the time. So what are some other thoughts you might be thinking after you've hit your goal weight or as you're losing weight in 3 months from now? It's really about doing some journaling and some deep thought work on what will I be doing? What will I be thinking when I'm at my goal weight? What do I want to think or be feeling when I'm at my goal weight? And what behaviors will be in place when I'm at my goal weight? What habits will be formed for me around food, around moving my body? What will be in place that has brought me to losing the weight? So one of the exercises I use with clients to make this a little bit more practical is to give some journal prompts. So if you're going to start on some of this work, what you can do is title your journal page Future You, it needs to be Future Me. Choose to look at future you in 3 months out. So I want you to write down 3 categories: thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And under those 3 categories, write what thoughts do you want to be thinking when you are at your goal weight, or at least losing some of your weight in 3 months? And what feelings do you want to be feeling? What do you want to be feeling? Most of the time, these will be things like, I want to feel a sense of freedom around food and my body. I want to be feeling more moments of joy. I want to be feeling more love towards myself, more love towards my body. I want to be feeling at peace when it comes to food, my body, things like that. And then how will you be behaving? What behaviors or actions will be in place when you are at your goal weight, or in 3 months as you are dropping weight? What behaviors are in place? How are you behaving? What things are there? So once you have that list of the thoughts, the feelings, the behaviors of future you, the trick in order to get to that goal weight, you need to now be starting to think those same thoughts you just wrote down, to feel the feelings that you just wrote down, and to be behaving or acting with those behaviors that you just wrote down. You need to begin to start doing those things now, because future you is doing all those things, and future you is doing all those things because you started now. You started today doing those things. That's why future you in 3 months is in that space. So if you've been listening to my previous episodes, you probably have some ideas of what I'm going to say about how to put into place these thoughts you want to be thinking now. It's really about practicing the thoughts. It's about writing them down over and over. It's about rehearsing them every day. It's about speaking them out loud to yourself. And it is nice here if the thoughts are somewhat believable, but even if they're not, like even if you know you need to be thinking these things that you don't completely believe, even if they're not, sometimes just speaking them out loud to yourself can help get your brain on board to start believing them. So although I usually like to start people with thoughts that are somewhat believable to them, because that's a little bit easier, it is true that when we speak those thoughts out loud to ourselves, we journal about them, we write about them over and over, really over time, our brain, and you can look into the brain science behind this, I'm not going to go all into it, but your brain will start to get on board with that thought, and that can start to create this new belief, a new belief system about yourself. So it really is about practice, thinking those thoughts and thinking them specific ways and on purpose. Then from those thoughts, your body then does cultivate feelings from that. And so you're going to experience some different feelings. You're going to create probably some more positive feelings of willingness, of momentum, of pride as you're thinking some of those thoughts and as you're starting to believe them more and more. You're also going to feel that pride due to just staying consistent with the behaviors that you're wanting to create, and being consistent with the new habits that you're putting into place. So it really starts again with the thinking part and practicing those thoughts in order to influence and start cultivating and creating new feelings, new sensations within your body, which then from those new feelings and new sensations start to cultivate and create more behaviors that fall into line with your goals. So it just makes there's no willpower involved here, bottom line. You don't need willpower. And in fact, willpower is futile. It comes and goes and you're motivated and you're not. And, it's just not a way to make quick and easy permanent changes. This is the way to do that, with really interjecting where your thoughts are and doing the thought work. Okay, so an example might be if you believe or you want to be thinking in 3 months from now, I am a worthy and deserving person, which, by the way, that thought right there, I am a worthy and deserving person, is really some of the thoughts a thought that can help create a feeling of confidence, of pride, and not pride in a bad way. I hope you guys know what I mean by that. It's like when you have really low feelings of self-worth, you really want some feelings of pride here and there. You want to be able to pat yourself on the back, not about arrogance or bragging. Just, I am a worthy and deserving person. That sentence alone, if you can start to believe that, is really one of those deeper ones that can start to shift you into those feelings that then create the momentum to behave and, act in a different way in your daily life. So if you want to be thinking, I'm a worthy and deserving person, once you reach your goal weight, and you think that's what you're going to be thinking when you reach your goal weight, then right now is the time to start practicing that thought. And I want you to think about ways that you are worthy and deserving without the weight loss. So what are some other ways in your life that you are worthy and deserving that has nothing to do with your body, nothing to do with food, nothing to do with your weight, nothing to do with your health? And if you can't come up with anything, I want you to think about what your best friend or a parent who loves you or anyone who loves you very much, what would they say about you? And this can be a stretch for some people. They have a really hard time coming up with positive, nice things about themselves, but this is imperative. So if you can't do it on your own, ask yourself, what would someone who loves me say about me? And I get clients who have a really hard time trying to even name the smallest positive things about themselves, but this is part of the work. And so this is where you need to stretch yourself. So even taking a couple guesses, like asking yourself, okay, well, if I had to just take a guess, what could I come up with? If you can't come up with anything, come up with something that someone you love would mention about you. Maybe that you're very kind to others, that you're helpful to others, things like that. More parts of your personality, more things about, the way that you're creative, or things that you do in life that help create joy for other people, those sorts of things. You want to start pulling apart even the smallest things or thoughts that can help you start to feel worthy. And even when mistakes are made, really understanding that you're not going to be perfect all the time, or even most of the time, and it's being okay and accepting that and allowing that about yourself. It's loving yourself even through the times when you feel like you're really, really screwing up. Another common thought with myself and many clients I've worked with is that future you does not use food to harm yourself. So this would be another example of what you maybe will be doing in the future when you are at your weight or health goal. You're not using food to harm yourself. And what I mean by harm yourself is not only the physical harming that we do with overeating and binging, with the weight gain and the health issues that can come along with that, or even having like a heavier body to have to go through life in, that makes things a little more difficult. In the short term, food for many of us does make us feel better, but it's understanding that beyond this overeating, it really does harm us more than just in physical ways. It hurts us mentally and emotionally, and even relationally, because all that drama that goes on when we're overeating, all the drama in our head, all the shaming, all the guilt, it really is understanding that food, overeating, binging, over drinking, all those things does harm us. So even though in the moment it feels okay, it feels better, really getting clear that in the long term, it is very harmful to us, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally as well. So, if you're wanting to think the thought, well, one of the things that might be helpful is working on thinking the thought, I use food for fuel, and once in a while, I use food for pleasure. So it's not only using food for fuel. I really believe that food is meant to be a source of pleasure at times and in certain situations. So it's not about never having food be pleasurable or never eating emotionally or those sorts of things. It's just starting with that thought of, I no longer use food to harm myself. I use food for fuel and once in a while for pleasure. So that would be one that you could consider using. When you're really connected to future you through this kind of work, you can transfer that energy that you are typically using, that you're using, typically spent on beating yourself up for what you ate, for how you look, to what and how you can be showing up now. That's really what needs to happen in order to get to future you. And that's not just with weight loss. That's with any goal or change habit that you're trying to create or break. With any habit you're trying to create or break. It's really looking into future you, and from that future you place, picking apart what you will be doing, what you will be thinking, what you will be feeling, and then working now to implement those thoughts, to create the feelings and the behaviors now. And, obviously the beginning of all this is really hopping into the thoughts. It's really working on the thoughts. So what's the difference between future you and now you? Get really curious about it. Don't go into judgment here. It's really all about curiosity and learning. It is not about judgment or shame. So if you start doing this work and you find yourself judging or shaming yourself, you got to take a break from it, because that's not where you want to go. Or use some strategies to get out of that judgment and shame and hop back into, the neutral witness or the observer as you do this work. Here's one that I personally went through, just to give you an example that might get the ball rolling for you in your own mind. This was all about chocolate in the evening. So I had this habit for a while of eating chocolate every single evening. And it is something I really wanted to change, because it was not helping me feel good about myself. It was not helping me sleep well. And I just knew it was a habit that I did not want to be thinking about or dealing with. I didn't want to be putting my energy into thinking about having chocolate, like kind of as this reward at the end of the day. So I really did some future work around this. I thought about future me who does not have this chocolate habit and who doesn't have it in the evenings, and what would she be thinking, feeling, and doing? Well, she probably would not be thinking about chocolate and telling herself, I just want it, or I need it to relax, or any of those things that I was telling myself. So future me wasn't thinking like that. Future me was thinking things like, I notice I'm craving chocolate, but I know this is a habit I want to change because it wrecks my sleep, makes me feel crappy, and although I really, really want it, I am willing to sit through the urge of it because I know it will pass. So that's how future me without the chocolate habit was thinking. And what was future me feeling in those moments? She's feeling maybe some urges. See, I'm being realistic here. You still might feel the urges. So she's feeling some urges, but also pride and relief after the urge passes and she didn't give in to it. She's feeling that relief and contentment, having stuck to what she said she was going to do. So then because of those feelings, contentment, feelings of pride, confidence, future me was behaving in ways of not eating chocolate. So just a little side note here. It doesn't mean I don't ever eat chocolate in the evenings. What I'm talking about is that habit of using food to self-soothe. And that's kind of how I was, how I used future work to move through that habit that I had going on in order to change it. I do typically spend some in-depth time with clients who are working on this type of work, on future you work and future me work, and going through their future self work with them to really help give them feedback and thought possibilities and pointing them in deeper directions. But you don't necessarily need a coach or a therapist moving you through this work. If you're pretty good at journaling daily and diving into this sort of stuff, you enjoy it, you can get yourself to go there. There's a lot of benefit you can gain through just starting to approach this concept through your own self-coaching. Future you work is powerful work. It really quickly brings you to clarity to what you actually need to be thinking in order to feel the feelings that create the behavior that you are trying to implement or change into or out of. So I really do hope you will maybe give some of those journal prompts a try and see where it can lead you. See where this sort of future work can help you get to those goals much, much quicker. If you found anything useful from this episode, please take the time to subscribe. It really does help me and keeps me able to put this information out there. You can also head over to my social media for more free resources as well as ways to contact me. You can find me at Instagram at Heinen Counseling and Coaching. Last name is spelled Heynen. You can also take a peek at my recipes only page on Instagram at Peak Protein Recipes, and Peak is spelled Peak. These are all high protein recipes in one spot to make it easy for people to find them. And if you keep listening right now, you're going to get some more information on how my clients take a much deeper dive on these topics with me through online programs and coaching. It's also where you will get information on the actual structured lessons, worksheets, journal prompts, support, and coaching behind all the information I'm putting out there in order to help you lose your weight for good, improve your health, and live the life you've been dreaming about in the body you've been dreaming about. Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheinen.com. Heinen is spelled Heynen, and get in touch with questions on all things I offer, like online courses for overeating, weight loss, goal attainment, and also my coaching and counseling services.